Joining us live from our Abuja studio now is an economist, Aliyu Audu, to discuss more on this. Aliyu, it's great to have you join us on the show today.
Thank you very much. Nice to have you too.
It's the first MPC meeting for the year 2020 to determine the monetary policy direction for the country. Since March, the MPR was dropped to 13.5%. If retained, will make it the 10th month of retention. Do you anticipate a retention of the rates?
Thank you very much. Yes, I do anticipate a retention of the rate, mostly because of the worrying increase in inflation rate. As of December, it was 11.9%. And obviously, if you are to reduce the rate further to 13%, that means there is the possibility that inflation will rise as there will be more credit in the economy. So I anticipate, from all indications, that the MPC will be retained at 13.5%, especially when some of the other sectors, there are some other policies that is coming with it. Some of the other sectors, like the manufacturing sector, has witnessed increased activity and increased credit, duly because of the increase in the loan-to-deposit ratio. So far, I think it's going to be retained at 13.5%. Thank you.
The MPC has quite a lot to hinge its decisions. Let's go from inflation hitting 11.98, attempts to moderate the pressures, external reserves fast dropping to 38.6 billion. That was as of December, growing sovereign debt and low fiscal buffers. How do you see them playing around with all of these economic issues?
Yes, what you have to understand is that we're coming from an election here, and obviously in an election year, there's a lot of distortions. Investors are very worried, so you'll notice that there will be reduction in foreign direct investment, and also the external reserve. In order to cushion this, we'll have to dip into external reserve, which will also witness a reduction. So we're now entering into a new year, anticipating more stability, but I think we also need to focus on other areas, as I've said in the past, diversification, because I cannot forecast what the price of oil is going to be. I mean, obviously, America doesn't buy our oil anymore, and there's a lot of ups and downs in the international oil market, especially the fight with Iran. That can make the oil go up, and you can never know what will happen. Maybe Saudi Arabia will try to stabilize it and reduce the price of oil. So on the international scene, I do not know, I cannot give an accurate prediction, but in my view, we have to focus more on diversification so that we can look for other ways to earn revenue and not be a mono-dependent economy, because anything that affects the oil will greatly affect our economy. Remember, 3 years ago we came out of a recession, and we know how it went, high inflation and all that. We don't want to get back to that. So a lot of thinking needs to be done. A lot of policymakers have to come together and crack their head, and for us to forge a way forward, minding the fact that inflation is going up, and if you try to tinker with the economy too much, the effect will be felt by the common man, and we don't want that.
Now, let's shift our attention to activities of the central bank that continues its reliance on open market operations, popularly called OMO, and also injecting hundreds of millions into the forex market, obviously to sustain liquidity. How sustainable do you think this is?
Well, as I've said before, we have to try as much as possible to open our economy to foreign direct investment and encourage investors. Now, political instability, like we've witnessed in 2000 and last year, is not good for us because all that will do is going to scare away investors. The central bank alone can try but cannot stabilize the economy by itself. As you can see, we forecasted a growth of about 3% and above, but we were only doing above 2%. So the central bank alone does not have the power to be able to control and monitor the economy. That will be too much for the central bank. As we have seen, there's a depletion in our foreign reserves, and we're in urgent need of foreign direct investment and alternative means of earning foreign exchange in order to stabilize the economy. Well, so far, the central bank is doing well. I mean, they're trying their best. You know, it's a very difficult decision. You know, you have to trade, you have to try to trade between inflation and growing the economy. That's a very difficult decision, you know, and, you know, the central bank is taxed with that. So I suggest that we should not leave everything to the central bank. Rather, you know, there should be policies that would encourage foreign direct investment, you know, into Nigeria, and especially let's take advantage of the Brexit. Now, UK is looking for countries to partner with and do business with since they are out of the European Union. Let's take advantage of this. Let's take advantage of the war, of the trade war between America and China. If we are able to key into economic benefits and bilateral trade relationships with China as well as Britain, I think we can be able to earn some foreign reserve that would assist us. So more than anything else, not just the CBN, we need a lot of policies and open policies that will encourage investments into Nigeria.
Now, you touched on the central bank and talking about the role of the fiscal side too. They have to actually synergize to make all of this work. But I'm looking at the issue of multiple exchange rate again, which is a major concern for investors. We know we have different windows, I and E windows. There's a separate exchange rate for oil imports, for all of that. You know what I'm talking about. How do you see us streamlining this, addressing this disparity?
Well, that is going to be very difficult because, you know, exchange rate is very scarce, it's very limited, and we have to focus on our priorities. And so that is a very difficult decision for the CBN. In order to reduce the pressure on exchange rate, I think it's important that we look into local production. As we have started, there is an increase in production of local rice, and you know, we should stop things we can produce here, sugar, milk, and what have you. We should stop importing them. We need hard policies that to be introduced. I know the CBN has already introduced about 41 products that are banned from importation, but we need to do more. And we need to look inwards, look into local production rather than importation. Food importation, as of the last time I counted, we spent about $5 billion on importing food that we can locally produce. Why is that? This is putting unnecessary pressure on the foreign exchange. So when these policies, if these policies can be adhered to and encouraged, then we can now use the foreign exchange on things that are critical to the economy, like machinery and what have you. So these are the policy directions I think the CBN, and in conjunction with the government, Ministry of Finance, they should be working towards reducing pressure on our foreign exchange and creating alternative means through diversification and supporting local content to produce what we can locally produce and consume in Nigeria. Produce and consume in Nigeria. Thank you.
Aliyu Audu there, thank you very much, live from our studios in Abuja. It's really good to see you.